If you find an empty water jug way out in the desert somewhere, you know that person has just used up their water. And I thought, wow, you know what, I'm going to collect some of those and I might use them as an instrument or something like that. There were 2 of them that were hanging from a mesquite tree. And I went to reach up to grab them, and one of the jugs flipped over, and I suddenly found myself covered in liquid, which smelled a lot like old urine. And later on, I met someone who I was talking to about this experience, and she said, oh, that's piss water. And I was like, piss water, what do you mean? She said, well, they must have had a really hard journey, because when they were coming through, they had to actually mix their water and their urine in order to keep their liquid supply going for as far as they can get. And that was a very, very, very poignant moment, to realize that somebody would actually drink their urine in order to survive, to get somewhere, to get a job, to be with family. At the time, I was reading the Tibetan Book of the Dead again for like the 3rd or 4th time, and I noticed there was a lot of symbolism between a migrant's journey and the journey of an individual from one life into whatever is going to come next. You know, certain things you should do, certain things you should watch out for. And if you made it, there was another life. People were all coming for jobs that had always been here. But as structures were put up, it became a militarized zone. It channeled those people into areas where they were dying in greater numbers, or they were condensed, they were arrested in greater numbers. The Nogales wall, when I first started playing it, was considerably lower. They've had to put up all kinds of fencing on top of it, literally like a metal mesh fence, because the kids now throw rocks. Border Patrol then launches tear gas over the walls to disperse crowds. Now, can you imagine if somebody were to launch tear gas into the U.S.? It'd be World War III, right? But we do that, and I know there's a school over there and that sort of thing. That just breeds acrimony. If kids are throwing rocks, figure out a way to get them to stop throwing the rocks. What do you need? Jobs, education, opportunities? Why are you throwing rocks? Let's address that reason and move. Not just stand there, you know, as a line of defense with the lights, the trucks, the guns, the dogs, because it never will stop. You know, it just breeds it. You know, David and Goliath, right? You look at all these biblical stories, walls of Jericho. I mean, there's a whole history of this stuff. There's an architect, Ronald Dahl. He took some inspiration from the Anta project and created a xylophone wall, a series of proposed fanciful walls that could, instead of just having a sheet of metal, you know, possibly having solar power generated. Or there's a rock climbing wall, or there's a teeter-totter wall, so someone on Mexico's side and someone's on the US side. These transformations are all part of really a healing way of using it. I decided that I wanted to share this work with the people in the United States government. I never heard from Dick Cheney, though. Never heard from Dick. Like I said, though, I think it was around the time he shot somebody, so he was probably dealing with that at the time. For all artists being border crossers, we should constantly be exploring those borders. What's concrete, what's real, what's not real, where the paranoia begins, where the paranoia ends, who's creating the fear and loathing, what are the truths, what are we afraid of, what are they afraid of? If we didn't have a wall, would that open up the opportunity for discussion, for commonality? And it's possible for artists to transform a moment through an act, whether it is something that we're all feeling but we're not recognizing, or it's a way of connecting on a deeper level. You know, that might be part of the entire artistic process. Like, you know, what drives somebody to come up to a hill in the middle of nowhere and, you know, stuff their long johns full of stuff and put it on, you know, with an American flag that's in tatters. You know, I don't know. And glasses, you know. I don't know what they're stuffed. It's just pretty stuffed with dope, right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, we're gonna get busted any minute now.